Hey, what's up, everybody? Let me give people a few minutes to filter in. And I had about, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes of stuff I'll talk about. Maybe it'll go longer. And then we can do a Q&A. We got people showing up. Thanks for coming out on a Sunday, guys. Okay. So I'm going to do a little bit of a presentation. A lot of it's kind of in the format of when somebody onboards with me, as far as like a kickoff call to like lay out a strategy and get their expectations in line, and sort of checklist of the high you know level stuff that has to be in place to make this business work. All right, we're getting a good turnout here. Yeah, I think give me like 3 more minutes for people to filter in. We're getting a pretty good turnout. All right, in a few minutes here, guys, I'm going to start teaching a bit, and then there's a meeting chat. You guys are welcome to ask some questions in, and I'll do that after I say my piece about how to have a big Q4. Okay. Jimmy or Gina, are you guys able to let people in as they come to the waiting room so I don't have to constantly hit that button? Or did I?
If you want to make me host, I can do that.
Okay. All right. There's been somebody trolling me really hard on social media named Garrett. So watch out for a Garrett.
Okay.
All right, let me make you a host, and then I'll just start saying my piece, and you can let people in. And Gina's host. Got it. Did you get the host?
No, it still says you.
Ah. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, how about now? Yeah, this is being recorded, yes.
Nothing yet.
Really? No. I hit make you host a few times. All right, I'll just take care of it. All right. Oh, I hit yes. All right. Jitterbug. Jitterbug's on the case. Okay, here we go. All
Okay.
right, you're gonna have to turn on screen sharing for me to screen share. And we're on, and okay. All right, guys. So feel free to put any questions in the chat. I'm gonna do a Q&A after I go through a little presentation on what it takes to do a big Q4. And let me just jump right into it, right? So we've been coaching and scaling ShineOn stores now since, I don't know, was it 2020, 21, right? 2020 was the last year that I did drop shipping, like, traditional Chinese drop shipping. There was a bunch of money in it, but logistically, it was an absolute nightmare for world reasons, 2020. And so I was very happy to meet Eric and start selling stuff that was to the US, it's located in the US. And so that was very fortuitous for us and for a lot of clients. And so we've been scaling these things. I mean, we've done well over 20 million in ShineOn sales. And that doesn't even mention another 10 plus million in people self-fulfilling. Could have been over 20 million people self-fulfilling. So the family gift space, especially in Q4, is just, it's bananas. And it's not like we don't know what's coming, right? Like every year, it's really obvious who's going to be buying. It's really obvious what kind of buying behavior you can expect in August, September, November, December. I missed October there, and October as well, right? So yeah, we'll go through a few case studies, and then I'll go through some bullet points, right? So this was like a very aggressive client. They actually did this 2 years in a row with us. They lost this first store because they were self-fulfilling. But this goes to show you, like, they literally started to scale big in December, and they ended up doing $1 million basically in 2 weeks. So, even if this was like 10% of this, um, it's not too late when December's rolled around. Like, I've seen plenty of people scale right at the beginning of December and do six figures or even 250,000. I think we had one guy one time, and I scaled him. We did like 230K on a brand new store. I think it was like December 4th that we scaled, and we got to like 8, 10, 15K days or something. So that was like the latest scale that I sort of jumped in on. So there's some absolute hyperbolic growth in December. And we'll show you that in a few different case studies, right? And here's Matt's big Q4 from last year. I want to talk more about his first Q4 with us in 2021. I'll talk about that a bit later. But you can see, November and December. It's just absolutely hyperbolic. So again, imagine if you did 10% of that, that's still a very solid chunk of change. That'd be like over 100 grand profit in your pocket if you could even do 10% of that, right? What are we looking at here? Got October early scale. This was a good one too. Another $1 million. Which one was this? Cindy, is this you? This looks like Cindy. So Cindy scaled something in the summer,
Yep,
and then
that's me.
again, we're not even looking at December now either. She's got to be pushing $1 million now. So this is, there's certain products that work, in the summer, evergreen stuff like Love Niche, lower average order value products. Like, we got somebody in the group that's done millions and millions in keychains, believe it or not. There's some other big players in the marketplace that were doing millions in self-fulfilled bracelets, just lower price point stuff that can work in the summer. Like next summer, don't do it now, but next summer, when next summer comes around, like the sun niche, the daughter niche in the summer, especially with lower ticket priced items. So we'll put that as a bullet point for your 1 year out or 10-month out from now plan if you want to make some money in the summer. That's kind of low hanging fruit, but you got to have the margins right? Because you're going to get cheaper cost per purchases, but you're not going to get as much in sales, right? Okay. All right. So I'm going to go through these bullet points by bullet points. All right. This is my thoughts on, everything you guys need to know to have like the highest chance of success to get one of these big Q4s. All right. Go where the money is, right? All of the Q4 money, the vast, vast, vast majority of the Q4 money is in the love niche or is in the daughter niche. Okay. Or both, do both. And people just keep trying to reinvent the wheel. Did I have that wheel thing in here? People just keep trying to reinvent the wheel. Like, if you're on this call, probably you're selling ShineOn, right? You're probably selling ShineOn products, family gift products, print on demand, what have you, right? The vast majority of people on this call. I have some lead clients, some drop shipping, some brand clients, but for the most part, people find me and Gina and Matt and the rest of our team, selling ShineOn, print on demand, right? So many people get into this, whether they're a client or whether they're, out there just doing this on their own, or they bought a $1 program or something, and they feel like they got to reinvent the wheel. They're making these like custom upload products and trying all these different angles and stuff. Why? Like, you came to ShineOn to sell what people want to buy. And in Q4, it's absolutely no mystery what people want to buy. Like, it's just the data, just like ShineOn gives you a pie chart of what sells. And it's the love niche and its daughter, and it's tens and tens of millions of dollars of products in Q4. So that's like the whole reason you're in this. So at least put 80% of your effort into what actually works and what people want to buy. The trick is, you go out there and you test 10, 20, 50, whatever message cards and acrylics, to my future wife, to my wife, to my soulmate, to my daughter. And you make a sale here or there, and you think, all right, well, this isn't working. So then you start trying to reinvent the wheel. And then it just like becomes total chaos, because you're trying to reinvent the wheel and catch lightning at the same time, to mix metaphors. And like, there's just like so little chance that you're going to make money if you try to reinvent the wheel with this. And if you do catch lightning and make a bunch of money with something that's totally different than anything else that's been seen out there, you've really caught lightning. I'm talking 1 out of 50,000 people. Like, there's one person out there just crushing it with journals, and they seem to have been able to do that for a long time. All right, great. Okay, but that's one person. There's some people out there that have crushed it with like very graphic heavy designs, And often what you don't realize is that that person has also scaled millions in very bland looking designs as well. And they know what they're doing. And a small portion of their testing was testing graphical type clip art designs based off of their research, off of something that might have worked on a similar product and a similar quote at a similar time of year. And so it was just one of 1,000 things that they were doing, or one of 100 things they were doing. And that one just happened to take off, and they put a better creative angle on it, and their ad account was optimized, and they know how to scale, and they know upsells. They are so much farther along in their journey when they hit that kind of clip arty, kind of more catchy design than just these sort of bland designs that you guys see scaling over and over again. And so like your bread and butter needs to kind of be the boring stuff. It's the phrase that pays. It's legibility that makes this stuff work. And then it's knowing how to put all the little pieces together to get your piece of that tens and tens of millions of dollars that happens, every Q4, right? All right. So the other thing about, sorry, it's kind of late here. I'm in Eastern Europe. It's kind of late. So the other thing about these niches, the bigger niches, like the love niche, daughter niche, it's not just going to work only for Q4 for you. I've seen people that, like back to that previous one where I talked about somebody scaled like on December 4th, they made more money in January off that product than they did in that last like week of ShineOn selling, more profit because it was an evergreen type product. And if you do like a Christmassy card or something, you're gonna like barely get it to work maybe, and then you probably don't make any money. And then just like by next Christmas, it just probably won't work again, and it barely worked the first time. But if you do a daughter card, a wife card, a husband product, you do one of these evergreen niches where all of the money is, you're gonna make money for Q4. You're going to break this project in. You're going to break in your learning curve, the algorithm, the product, the upsells, the creatives, and you get to keep using those. You use them for January when you're not going to do huge numbers, but people are still buying and those niches, but they're buying for cheaper because ads are cheaper in January. And then you're going to be able to have a spike for most of those niches I'm talking about for Valentine's Day. Then it goes a little quiet again, and then you get a big spike again for Mother's Day, and then maybe graduation. And then there's some moves that you can do in the summer, right? Like I know people doing 5-10 grand plus a day in the love niche right now because it's evergreen, right? And so you can map out your whole year, and you can recycle these and do them over and over again, right? So like it might be one year you did a couple 100,000 on this one card, and then next year you had a different color and a slightly different font and a much different, maybe much more polished or much less polished UGC video, and your upsells and your ad strategies and everything were looking better. Maybe you charged more for it, and you end up doing 10 times as much money off of a card that was, or a mystery card or something that was basically the same as what you'd done before, right? So it's not just that it pays you in Q4, it'll pay you in Q4 and into next year. And if you really plan out a full year of this, you can also sell your store too. So it's about having a big Q4, having a product that you make money on, or products and niches you can make money on next year, and having something that you can sell, right? So one of the things, I'll touch on it a little bit today, but one of the things that is really exciting for me and for really anybody that knows what they're doing in e-commerce right now is there's so much like venture capital money out there that wants to diversify into e-commerce assets. When I first started this stuff, 8-10 years ago, people thought like you were scamming people if you're selling something online. Like people were like, scammer, they're stealing your credit card, right? Like 8-10 years ago is completely different than now, where now everybody buys stuff online. Like it's only 10 years ago that like a lot of people just weren't looking to buy stuff online. They didn't trust it, right? Or maybe they trusted Amazon, maybe a little bit. And now, this market has matured so much and become such a big piece of the economy. Well, large pools of money that invest in real estate and stocks and private equity, they want to also have exposure to e-commerce. And so these entities roll up whole niches and then sell them to venture capital at very large multiples, right? And so you want to try to build something that can become part of one of those exits. And that's something that we're heading in the direction of too. So in order to do that, they want you to show a profit. They want you to show that you can make sales most months out of the year. You're still going to have in the family gifts, you're going to have the spiky 3 big spikes of profits, but you can still do 6 figures or millions of dollars during the year in the evergreen niches, right? So there's just like 1,000 times more reason to stick to where all the money is, because that's what you came here for anyways, unless you came here because you wanted to reinvent the wheel, right? In which case, I wish you luck. And if you catch lightning, I hope you can keep catching it, because I haven't seen anybody that can do it yet, right? The people that I've seen that draw outside the lines tremendously, again, behind the scenes, they sell a bunch of boring looking products that are just mainly just very legible text acrylics and message cards, and then also something in their portfolio with something graphical or customized, and maybe it took off, right? But they're not throwing the whole bank at that. Okay. Yeah, so put 80% of your effort into the highest selling products, the highest selling niches at the highest selling time, right? So this is love not message cards, acrylics, and acrylics basically in the love niche and in the daughter niche. This is where the vast majority of the money is. And the love niche has a lot of sub niches, of course. I'm going to share this document with everybody, and then I'm going to also put the replay of this at the top too, so you guys can come back to this. Yeah, so like love niche, you had soulmate, wife, husband, to my man, future wife, and that goes on and on. You'll notice that when it's like future wife or something like that, all the money, the mass majority is in direct family relationships, like mom to daughter, dad to daughter, husband to wife, things like that. But there are 7-figure opportunities in 1 degree of separation stuff too. So you can mix that in a little bit. So like if you're in the love niche, you might find that a particular quote works better for future wife for you than it did for just straight to wife, right? Or you might find that something works better to soulmate, or you might find that it works better to wife than soulmate or future wife. Or you might find that you can do a profit on the same quote with small adjustments into all those, and you may even flip it around and just change the wording up a little bit and make money here, right? So there's a lot of room for it here. And we're going after, when we go after like soulmate and wife, we're going after the same person that's buying for daughter in Q4 too, because we're going after like the US family guy. And the men are so easy to sell to. Big, bold fonts, easy to read, simple, fast websites to get them to check out as fast as possible, taking $60 to $150 from them along the way. Like your site is just a cash register for them, and the jewel, the necklace justifies the price of why they're spending $100 on a Hallmark card, right? And so they're so easy to sell to. Like think about Romantic Caveman, like very simple text, very legible, just so simple that it's so hard for 99% of people to believe it and grind out what you need to do to make it work for you, right? Okay. Biggest niches, biggest products, biggest trends. Next, where's all the profit as far as a traffic source? Meta. Meta is the vast majority of the profit. You talk to any top ShineOn seller, and some of them have done millions on TikTok before, but all of the money currently that they're making or the vast majority of it is Meta. It's just so much more profit there to be had right now. Now, that could change in an instant. When TikTok ads first came out, it was pretty low-hanging fruit. It's kind of easy to make money. There is a very big company in the family gift space, and we talked about it on a group call in EPM last Thursday. They do a lot of their creative testing on TikTok, and then they take their best performing creatives from TikTok and they scale them on Facebook. So they're using TikTok not as a profit center, but they're probably finding that it's like cheaper, or could have something to do with like the ad account optimization. Whatever it is, they find that it's a lot easier to test their creatives, and they lose hundreds of thousands of dollars and then make tens of millions of dollars in Q4. But they intentionally lose hundreds of thousands of dollars right now in August testing products on TikTok that they're going to scale to the moon and do 8 figures in Q4 for. But they're going to scale to the moon on Meta, right? So it's not just me and my crew. It's not just that I happen to be a Facebook and Meta ads expert. This is a fit for our skill set. Actually, TikTok ads, when they first came out, I found them very easy to run and turn a profit on, but then it got crowded and the CPMs just got higher, and it's just not the same profit center. Plus, every guru under the sun was running tons of traffic saying, hey, this is the blue ocean over here. You don't want to have to run Facebook ads. And everybody had been burned on Facebook ads. We're like, yeah, TikTok, right? So that's matured, and that's not there. Although the TikTok Shops partnership with Amazon is very interesting, and I'm curious how that's going to play out. Like, we used to coach Etsy, Gina did, because we had a 6-figure a year Etsy store until Etsy decided to be very not business friendly, and like most of that money disappeared. And instead of building it back up, why just make more money with Facebook ads when they're being way more business friendly? So your time in, it's not just money in, but your time in to your money out is best served on Facebook. You're gonna make so much more money, right? Okay, so that's your main traffic source, your main niches, your main products. Love niche, daughter, Facebook ads, message cards, specifically love knot, acrylics. Okay. Put 80% of your effort into that, and now you're fishing in the group roles. You're fishing where the fish are. Okay. Okay. All right, so let's get into a little bit of like sort of just hyperbole. Let's get into a little bit of like actual action taking, right? So you need a realistic testing strategy, right? So this is a watered down version of exactly what I give clients when they come on, right? So the way that I teach this, view this, execute this, and this has always worked and continues to, is don't think about I'm looking to find a winner and then I'm just going to turn up the volume and it works. You have to test until you find something that shows potential, call it an outlier, all right? And then you have to develop it. So you test, you develop, and then you verify, and then you scale, because you're building this campaign, you're building this product, and the first version of it and the first creative of it probably isn't your 6 or 7 figure run. Okay, so if I've seen people do that, I've seen somebody test 15 pictures in Q4, do a couple 100,000 in sales, and then reach out to me every Q4 for 2 or 3 years, being like, man, I haven't been able to do that again. How much is your program again? Right. And it's sort of like, the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again, expect different results. The problem is if you hit a winner in something, it's very human. If you hit a winner in something too easily, then that's how you believe it'll always be. My first $1 million product in dropshipping, I hit it kind of easily. I'd had a winner before that did like 50,000, another one that did 70. They were like kind of break even. I was getting to know what dropshipping was. This is 2015 or something. But I just went with the product that all the gurus are saying, don't sell this, it's too saturated. And then I just sold it with better creatives, which we'll talk about creative testing a little bit. This is really the time you want to be finding a potential winner and just testing the heck out of the creative. That's where you're going to get the most ROI in your time right now. Okay, I digress. But my first $1 million run was a little too easy. It was super stressful, having never done a $1 million business and doing it in a short period of time, never having really like done internet marketing. But it was pretty easy to find the actual product. And so then it took a while. I had a little bit of a dip, and then it took a little while to find the next ones. And then we really got it down to a system and put in more effort into the product testing and the creative testing and the scaling knowledge. And then we're able to do it over and over and over again, for ourselves and for clients, right? Okay. So when you're first testing something, especially if you have a brand new ad account, your ad account, you have to feed Meta. You have to feed, I hate calling it Meta. I'm going to just call it Facebook for the rest of the call. Okay, guys. You have to feed Facebook the information that they want to do business with you. Okay. And you're like, think about it like a person, right? Like, let's say, you're a jewelry maker and there's a big, bazaar or whatever, where they let people put jewelry on consignment, and everybody's got real similar stuff. And 100 people, 1,000 people or whatever. Why are they going to give one person, they got 1,000 new sellers, why are you going to give one person all this quality traffic and like let them grow their business until they know how that person operates? And so you have to feed these indicators to Facebook on a new project, on a new ad account, new pixel, new domain. Like, you have to build up a little bit of a reputation before it's going to let you scale. And this is why most people crash and burn on these very basic looking to my soulmate, to my wife, to my daughter cards, because about 50 in or 100 in, they start to get frustrated with those and they think, maybe I got to reinvent the wheel to make this work, right? And they start shiny objecting all over the place. And they were probably just like another 30% more effort away from it starting to work, because they probably had a couple in there that were making a few sales, right? Okay. You got a few common mistakes here for you guys. You can read through those on your own time. All right. So the basic idea of testing here is we spend $50 per product. We spend $25 a day for 2 days. I had a coffee with Michael where I talked about this. Everybody in my group named it the M25, Mario 25, because it's $25 a day. Okay. Brand new ad account, or even not brand new product, brand new ad account, brand new website, unproven ads, everything's unproven. And so you cannot trust anything except for sales, click-through rate, CPMs, all these other KPIs that you're going to want to look at and that everybody else is telling you need to look at when you're testing. I mean, absolutely nothing, because most of the time you might get like 10 add to carts and you're like, oh my God, what's going on? Maybe my website's broken. You spend $20 and you got 10 add to carts. 99.9% chance it was just bots. They were just crawling your site and adding to carts. You might get a really cheap cost per click. 99% chance Facebook was just giving you crappier quality traffic or bots, again, that were clicking for cheaper. So when you're initially testing, the only thing you can trust is an actual sale from your ad. So did an actual human being click on your ad and buy that product? And did multiple human beings within about a break-even amount of money, $50, did multiple human beings come in there and buy your product from your ad? And that is all you're looking to do when you test. You're looking for something that makes multiple sales on the first $50 in ad spend. And if you follow these 3 simple rules and keep it super simple, this is the recipe that gets success over and over and over again. And it's really when the human factor comes in and people overcomplicate it, or they don't test consistently, or they're making some common mistakes like the card isn't legible enough, or it's super clip arty, and it needs to be a very legible card in the niches where all the money is, or an acrylic, and you need to just grind out your tests. Okay, we call them reps, right? And the fact of the matter is, to hit an outlier in late November, it's going to take less products to find one, but it's going to be harder to develop it fast. In August, it's going to take more products, but you want to get your outliers now if you're just starting testing, or maybe you have an outlier already, and then now phase 2 is going to be where you need to be. You want to be finding your outliers now, mid-August to early September, and then you want to put them into development. So all that matters is you get multiple sales. Okay. All right. So you got an outlier. You want to be testing, let's say you test 5 products a week on average for the whole year. That's 260 products. Out of 260 products, you are going to get somewhere between 5 and 10 outliers, and some of those will develop into 6 or 7 figure campaigns, especially if you know what you're doing, right? And the math is really that simple on it, and it's just inconsistency and common mistakes and just like not learning from what's not working. So one of the 3 simple rules here is the products that don't make any sales, after $50, you turn them off, but you don't like forget about them. You go back and you look at them. You look at like, what are the commonalities between these products that aren't making sales for me? It might be a particular niche. Might have been that you were trying to reinvent the wheel and you're in some niche that has no business, you have no business testing in, because it's just like that niche doesn't buy these products, or they don't buy them for Q4. Like, it's just not going to work, right? Maria, which day you recommend testing? Let's do Q&A after I talk a little bit more, but I'll get to you. Okay. So you find an outlier, you find something that makes multiple sales. Don't care what the cost per clicks are. I don't care what the CPMs are. I've literally seen. So rule 2 here is that if you get 1 sale on that first $50, you give it another day. All right. But I've literally seen somebody with horrible stats, something like $5 cost per clicks, no add to carts, nothing at $45. And then bam, 1 sale comes in. And guess what happens on day 3? 3 sales turned into a 6-figure scale. right? And so you want to put a break-even amount of money into these things. Sure, there's going to be some products that for $50 that if you'd run some more money to them, maybe they would have caught a sale. But this mathematically is, it works. It works for us. Okay. So if you don't overcomplicate it, that's your testing strategy. All right. Okay. So you get an outlier. You got something that makes a few tests, makes a few sales. Now you're going to get into development and verification. There's a couple things that happen here, a few things that happen here. There's a few things on the human level. So you're going to be testing versions of the card. Let's just use message cards for the example. This is the highest average order value anyways for Q4. So you're going to test different versions of the product itself, the card, and you're going to test different creatives. And then you might do some other stuff too. But at the very basis of development, you're going to do version tests of your best product, and you're going to do creatives of your best product. And now there's a couple human factors happening here, and there's an algorithm factor happening. We're assuming this is a new ad account, new product, new project. You may not be new to e-commerce. You might be completely new to e-commerce, but you're new to finding a winner for a family gift ShineOn card for Q4, or maybe you've done it before and you're lost now and you need a direction. Okay. So we'll use the message cards for this. Two human factors. One, your learning curve. You're finding out what works, whether it's a video or a picture or a certain font in copywriting or a different background color, or maybe a small graphical element. We call them like doilies. Maybe it's a little like ring around the love knot or a little squiggly under it or something, like very light graphical elements. Okay, might help this thing take off. It might just be that the algorithm gives that one version. If you test 10 different versions of the cards, 5 with copyright rewrites, 5 with slight graphical changes, background color, adding a third color, adding a little doily, just small graphical changes. And a lot of that can be based on research, right? If you have spy tools or you see, these products coming across your feed and you go, oh, that's a nice design. Let me try that on something of mine, something similar. Let me grab one idea from that, not copy it, but try that on one of my designs that has some sales, right? So that's what human factor one is. You're learning what works and what doesn't work. Human factor two is you're putting all these versions out, and so they're going to, like, mathematically, probably there's a different version of your message card, and certainly there's a creative that are going to perform better to human beings than your first one that you put out there, right? It's just a mathematical reality that there's no way draft one on a human level is the best product, okay, as far as people buying it. Now, everything being equal, you're in the right niches, the right products. You got a real methodology here. You're feeding Facebook these signals that you're making some sales. All that being equal, this is where Facebook starts to get to know you, because you're starting to get some feedback. You're getting lack of negative feedback. You might be getting a review or something on your Facebook shop if you have that set up. Facebook sees that you're actually shipping these products and customers aren't complaining. Now Facebook knows you're at least not a scam artist, at least on the small level. Because again, we're at this bazaar where there's 1,000 people to do business with, and Facebook's like the owner of the bazaar and has to decide, who am I going to do business with? You're feeding them the information that, okay, not only do I have a product that people bought a couple times, well, I got to go a couple different versions of it, and they're getting better. They're getting better KPIs at this point. They're getting cheaper cost per clicks, maybe more engagement costs. They're getting more sales. All right, so I got multiple products happening. My creatives are getting better. They're getting more engaging. And so Facebook sees that you're working on improving your site and the human beings are buying this, and you're getting positive feedback or lack of negative feedback because you're actually operating the business. And so at this point, you hit sort of like this singularity event where you're better and your products are better and people want to buy them, and Facebook's treating you better. And you have to grind through this development phase. And a lot of people just fizzle out here, even given the proper roadmap, just because it's human. You might be 90 products in and like break even, and you might think, oh man, I'm doing bad. But actually, sometimes clients reach out to me, and maybe they tested 40 products, maybe 20, maybe 90, whatever it is. Part of the time, I wish they'd reached out to me before, because they just were trying to reinvent the wheel, or maybe something was lost in communication and the products are just so way off that it's like, all right, well, here's an easy fix. You're not going to like it, but trash all that and do this. But often they're following this methodology. They're putting out legible designs in the niches that make sales and the products that can work. And it's purely just that they haven't put in enough reps yet. And sometimes somebody will reach out to me after like 80 tries. Like, might not be 80 completely new designs, but it might be, 30 or 40 new designs, 20 different versions and 20 different creatives or something. And they're like hovering around break even, or they're down a little bit, or they're up a little bit. And they're like, just that hasn't caught yet. And this might be like $5,000 or $10,000 in sales or something, 5 to 15, whatever it is. And, they might feel like really frustrated and deflated, but it's all relative, because often they'll reach out to me and I'm like, all right, you're at 90 reps. You're doing better than Matt Baugh did on his first 90 reps, right? Took Matt 137 reps to hit his first Q4 winner. I got a picture of that down here. And then he scaled it to $500,000. And then now he's done $10 million and he's ShineOn's top seller, right? And so it's just all relative. And they just needed that little bit of a push or reassurance that like you're doing pretty good. Now, granted, out of those like 90 tests, probably there was a third of them or half of them that like, where we need to make some conclusions here. Those are just burning out more of your testing budget than they should be. And that's just natural human learning curve, right? But, whether it's 15 or 150 or 200 products, like think about it like this. Like, I used to bartend 12 hours a day. Like, how many drinks did I make in a night? 300, 1,000, I don't know, but like more than you have to test ShineOn products to find something that you can do 6, 7 figures with. And it's just a different, more uncomfortable act unless it's something you're used to doing over and over again. It's just launching cards and stuff and designs and spending $50 a pop on them. And some make a sale, some don't. It just kind of feels like, is this real? Is this real? Is this real? Is this real? Right? Whereas like it's not something tangible, like making a drink, handed to somebody, or nailing a piece of roofing in, or whatever, analogy you want to use, but whatever you do on a daily basis to make money, and you do thousands of times in a week, this is no different than that. It's just weird because you're sitting at home and you're on your computer and grab something from Canva that looks like very similar to the 30 designs you did before it. You throw $50 at it, you're like, all right, is this going to do it? Is this going to do it? But the fact that you're the person that follows a recipe that works and you are willing to grind through it is the reason that you can have a high chance of success, right? Okay. This is where right now you're going to get the most ROI on your time. You can make, so in creative testing, you're going to be testing pictures and videos. You're going to be testing graphical overlays. In a picture ad, the graphical overlay might just be like a red bar with black writing or something and an emoji. She cried reading this or something. In a video ad, often it's a smaller one at the bottom. Like, let's say somebody's receiving a gift or something, and then they have a smaller one and it's like, she cried happy tears or something like that. And it's there for like 3 to 5 seconds at the beginning of the video. But those graphical overlays make a big difference, because might be the whole reason like somebody watches the video or scroll stops on it, right? So you get a lot of ROI and time on that, because those are really easy to test, right? So pictures, videos, graphic overlays. After that, you can actually move the needle. Once you have a good ad, you can actually move the needle another 10, 30% in your favor by trying out different Facebook headlines and primary text. It's kind of backwards, right? Like you'd think the headline's on top, and that's the Facebook primary text. It's the stuff on top of the ad. And then the headline is below, kind of next to the action button. And the headline can be, you can do some urgency or something, or Black Friday special or something on that, right? So creative testing, once you have something that's an outlier, what's going to happen here in development is you're going to either make or lose a little bit of money. And if this works and it's something that you end up being able to scale, great, you make some money. If it just sort of breaks even on you, it wasn't a lost effort. Break even could be a gain or loss of 10%. It wasn't a lost effort because you broke the project in. The fact that you were, go back to the Matt Baugh example of 137 reps. The fact that he put those 136 failures in before, it broke the project in. And project had done 10, 20 grand in sales, I don't know, at a small gain or a small loss. And by that point, he knew what was working for him. He knew what copy, what graphics, people were buying at a higher rate. And, also there's the algorithm because it's a brand new product. So his product number 137, which was his job quitter life changer, if that was the first product he tested on a brand new ad account, wouldn't have worked because you hadn't broken the ad account in. There's no scenario in which somebody puts just like the best product of all time in a product that thousands of people are selling. It's not like these people haven't seen these before, right? It's not like, oh my God, that's a new product, I have to buy that. Like it's the algorithm has to give those people, has to give your product impressions in a rate to the right people that you can get a cost per purchase that is profitable for you, or at least break even, and then build off of that. And so your game changing, life changing, job quitting product might be product number 100 or 200, 137 for Matt. But if you put that product number 100, 200, 137 as your first product, 99.99999 chance that that would not have been your game changer, even if it was a superior product to some of the other stuff you were testing. You have to grind out the reps. It's like building, I'm just going to use a bunch of analogies here. It's like, bench press. Like you have to keep putting up the reps if you want to lift more. If you want to get to your goals, you have to put in the reps, and then the algorithm is going to reward you for it, assuming it's not a bunch of junk that people don't want to buy. Assuming you're not trying to reinvent the wheel, assuming that you have legible products that are the top selling products in the top selling niches at the right time of the year. And some of them will make some sales. And then the algorithm will start to give you more of a chance to take off. Okay. Okay. So the next thing you have to do, and I can't really go too deep into this on this call. So you found your outlier, you're developing it with variation tests and creative tests, and you can start to do different upsells and stuff at this point too. There's a lot of things you can do to develop a campaign. The next thing you need to do is verify. You need to spend more money on it, right? And if you're on trend and you had a great creative, it can be as simple as just and your ad account's broken in. It can be as simple as just raising the budget and raising the budget and raising the budget, or launching an ad at a bigger budget. If things are the more dialed in that your fundamentals are, the better your upsells are, the faster your site is, the better your creatives are, the more warmed up your ad account is, the deeper into the hyperbolic buyer demand you are, there is a chance of not having to have like some major performance marketing, Facebook hack, kind of Facebook Kung Fu skills to make this work, to make some money. Now, granted, if you did have everything fundamentally phenomenal and you had Facebook Kung Fu, that's when you see people do, 6 figures in a day, right? Because they have everything. They have the fundamentals and they have the Kung Fu. It's ideally both. But you can have something pretty, frankly, a little bit mediocre. And the stronger your Facebook performance marketing Kung Fu is, the less everything else has to be. The stronger your fundamentals are, the less Facebook Kung Fu you need, right? And if you have both at a higher than normal level, you're going to have a really good time, okay? All right. I wish I didn't put this in here. Okay, so one thing that we use, this is the one advanced thing I put in this presentation. Everything else is just straightforward strategy, because it gives a big advantage, right? So you've got these creatives, you're testing these products, and the demand's coming at you for Q4. If you want to do media buying at a higher level, highly recommend you learn how to do some manual bidding instead of just auto bidding, because it gives you a lot more control and a lot more options for profit potential and higher profit potential, a lot of options for limiting your loss. So you can win big, lose small. It's very much a day trading mentality that a lot of performance marketers that make a ton of money in Facebook ads, TikTok, you name it, bring to the table here, okay? The first manual bidding campaign that I teach people is called Bid Ladder. So when you're auto bidding, you have no idea what Facebook's bidding for you. There's an auction going on. You have no idea what it's bidding for you. When you're manually bidding, you're putting a number in there. What you're trying to do with this discovery campaign is you're taking your best product and your best creative, and you're trying it at like 4 different bids. And you're trying to find out a few things. What do I have to bid to get some traffic? What percentage of my ad spend do I get at that bid? And how's it going? Right? So let's say you're bidding $60 per purchase or something, and you got some $40 purchases. It's not like, hey, I bid, $1,000 on that car. I bid 1,001 and the person pays 1,001. The math with Facebook's kind of weird like that, right? You're not actually, if you're using, there's different types of manual bidding. I don't want to get too technical on this. If you're using bid cap, which is the one where I've almost always seen the most profit, it's counterintuitive. Sometimes you have to bid a lot higher than the actual reality of your purchase because it gets you at the quality of traffic that allows you to get a purchase, and it's a cheaper purchase. So it gets a bit technical. So forget about exactly what you have to bid, but you keep raising your bids until you get some traffic. You start to get a few hundred impressions, right? And I got a little training video on it here. So you guys want to dive into that, please do. But don't just go burning a bunch of money with half of the information. I probably shouldn't have put this in here, but it's a very valuable tool. So I wanted to give people a taste of that, right? Variety of scenarios are going to happen. You might have a $200 budget campaign and it only spends $20 a day. So it spends $40 over 2 days. All right, so you bid enough to get 10% of your potential spend, right? Here's the auction. Okay, did it make some sales? Okay, if it made some sales and you got cheap sales, all right, well, now you can choose your next piece of the adventure, which I won't go into, which might be that's where some nice high profits for you are in the summer. Maybe you spent 50% of your budget and it got some sales, but the sales weren't profitable. Maybe you have to bid a little bit lower. Maybe you spent the whole budget and it was profitable sales. That's the best scenario because you're able to bid, spend the whole budget, and then just scale that thing to the moon. That happens more deep into Q4, especially with a great creative and a proper funnel in place, right? Okay. So that's all I'm going to talk about on that one here without going. You can ask the Q&A. You can ask me some manual bidding questions. Okay. All right. So trend is huge, right? So again, this is August. Like what you get out of your testing now versus what you can get in September, October, November is just absolutely night and day. Like I said, there's 8-figure companies out there intentionally losing money. Excuse me. Intentionally losing money. Just testing hundreds or thousands of creatives, looking for their best creatives that then in September, probably beginning of September, late September, last year, Matt got up to 50K a day early September, right? And in previous years, we had people hit 10 or 30K days right at the beginning of September. So we're really close to when people are going to start scaling massively, right? And so right now they're just testing every possible thing to get a bigger advantage. So when they do floor it in September, they got the best creative, the best product, the best upsells, among just a couple other things too. Okay. Okay. So trend. It's just so obvious where and when the money comes in. This is another reason why you want to stick to these niches, is because you can see year after year what you can do with these products, right? So if we look at the US for 5 years and we look at gift for daughter, it's in a low right now. But what's it going to do in October? Even though it's interruption marketing, this is search intent. So search interruption marketing often, not always, pops before search intent. Okay. So the early adopters that are buying something, if you show them something in their face, oh yeah, we'll go ahead and grab that now, right? They're like, that's nice. I want to get that for so-and-so. Or maybe they want to spread out their Q4, we call it Q4, they call it Christmas. They want to spread out their Christmas or whatever holiday budget over multiple paychecks. And so some people are just buying up some of the smaller stuff now. Maybe they got 12 people to shop for, and they're going to buy now. So you can grab the early adopters and do $10,000, $50,000 a day in these big niches in early September, or 1,000 or whatever, your target is. And we'll talk about target a little bit later in the call here, right? So what happens every year? Well, October into December, this demand goes absolutely hyperbolic, right? And then what happens here, you can't really tell, but there's really cheap purchases right here. There's actually some really easy money for way less people right here because there's not search intent, but it's an auction and the ads are way cheaper. And so even though there's not as many people with intent to buy, they'll buy because you can get a bunch more impressions that are quality impressions for less money, right? And then what happens next? You got Valentine's Day, bam. Then you got Mother's Day and graduation. And then it happens again and again and again and again and again and again. If you're in the daughter niche or if you're in the love niche, what happens? You got a huge Q4, you got a Valentine's Day, you got a Mother's Day, And don't discount this evergreen stuff because this is millions or tens of millions of dollars right here too. And so why would you want to reinvent the wheel and not be in the niches where all the money is? You know, it's so easy for me to say because I've seen it over and over and over and over again. And occasionally somebody to do $500,000 or $1 million or something in Q4 into my mom. But it's hard because you don't get or one degree of separation from mom or like a different niche that's not love niche or daughter, but it's really hard to get a high enough average order value to compete because you're still going after the same family people in the auction, and it just becomes so much harder to compete on an average order value level, much like trying to scale a keychain or something into Q4. You're not going to be able to have enough margin to pay for the cost of goods and for the ads as you will as if you went after like daughter and somebody came in and bought for a couple of their daughters and they bought an upsell for like a romantic and they bought a son and they bought another daughter product or something like that. And you can just build up this big 120, 130, $150 average order value on a message card in these primary niches and keep building on that. And then just year after year, we see more and more money in those, right? Can't really see here, but yeah, there's like September. Year after year, we got early scalers in September, early September, which is like a week or two away, a couple weeks away. They just floor 10 grand, 30 grand, 50 grand days. And it's out there. Those are the early adopters. Those are the people coming in before the obvious search trend. This is because we're doing interruption marketing. People are starting to think about buying, and we're talking about tens of millions of dollars in sales will happen before you actually see those trends in Q4, because Q4 is just absolutely bananas, right? Okay. Why am I not worried about like giving you guys this information? Well, for one, if you are a 6 or 7 figure seller and you've done that multiple times, you already know this is where all the money is. Okay. Two, if this is news to you, great. Maybe this will help you make some money. Maybe this will help you like get rid of the chaos. And even if you have some success with it, I'm not worried about giving out this information because, you know, my 6, 7, and 8 figure sellers, they're ahead of the game already, right? There's this picture this $100 to $200 million pie, and they're out there grabbing tens of millions of dollars of it. And you can just jump right in on that wave and grab 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, $1 million, and not actually really compete with in these bigger. That's the other thing about these bigger niches is like a rising tide rises all boats, and you might be getting your winner, which looks very similar to like a multi 7-figure seller's winner in soulmate, wife, daughter, what have you. And by the time a person sees your card, it's like November, December, maybe you're hitting late November is when you're hitting and you floor it and you do a quick 200 grand or something. Well, the early scaler, the person that did all the money losing in August and did all the initial scaling in September, and then now they're reaping the benefits, millions of dollars. They've broken the audience into seeing these cards, and you just ended up being the point of sale. Because at the end of the day, everybody's just slinging a love knot over here in a Lux box, and just you ended up being the point of sale. They didn't know if they bought from this store, that store, XYZ Gifts or ABC, designs. They don't care, especially if you're selling to men. Like these guys, they don't go to the homepage. They don't know who they bought from unless it's like it hasn't shown up. All right. Or they see it on their credit card and they forgot they bought it. Like you are just a cash register for them. You evoke an emotion as quickly as possible and in an algorithm and in a way that the algorithm likes it. And you get them through checkout and throw a couple upsells at them along the way, get into checkout, and you just made this thing as painlessly as possible. They didn't know who you were 20 seconds ago, and now they've just given you $60 to $150 or something, and they bought for a couple daughters and a wife and a soulmate and a son, and bam, they were in and out in 30 seconds. And it's a US Family guy, and he's busy, and he doesn't care about Hallmark cards, right? But if you evoke a little bit of an emotion, he's gonna have like almost a tear, and then bye, done, and the whole thing's done, right? Okay, let's talk about website. Fast free theme, done. You can't beat it. You cannot beat done. Do we put a little customization on it? Yeah, but not much, way less than you would think, okay? The problem with paid themes and fancy versions of even the free theme is that they almost always slow it down. They very rarely convert better than Dawn right out of the box. That's the most popular free theme from Shopify. But Dawn basically just needs a nice big green button. It doesn't, the button sucks. Other than that, it's like a big picture, easy to shop. Cart page that comes with it needs some improvement. Okay, there's some little things that need some improvement, but like you're going to do way better with a free theme and a couple apps, because what happens is you might buy a paid theme, and on the off chance that it actually outperforms Dawn, which is unlikely, on the off chance that it does, you're just one software update from Shopify, the theme developer, maybe you got 5 apps. One update on any of that can completely break your website. And you know, you were doing $10,000 days at a $2,000 a day profit. Now you're doing $5,000 days, losing $500. And it takes you a week later, and it's, you know, mid-December before you figure out, oh crap, it was an update. My site broke, right? But if you keep it super simple and you stick with Dawn, which moves billions and billions and billions of dollars, if Dawn makes a mistake, or if any of the app developers that are worth their salt, there's a new Dawn update, they're going to make sure to update their software, right? One of the advantages of being in a mastermind of people who are doing millions and tens of millions of dollars is that if anything breaks, we all know it within a few hours, right? But you want to keep, you don't want to overcomplicate these things with a whole bunch of extra themes, extra code, installing and uninstalling apps. You're just making everything way harder on yourself, and you're just drastically raising the chance that one update is going to break you or something. Plus, these paid themes, they get sold to other developers. The developers get fired, get hired by somebody else. They have like remote workers, and like, you know, I've seen it in dropshipping where some new theme is like the best thing ever, and then like one update later, it's basically malware, and it's loading at 20 seconds instead of half a second, and the whole thing's completely broken, right? And then everybody's like squandering to try to like fix their site in the middle of Q4, right? Okay. So you need a nice fast free theme, Dawn. Don't overcomplicate it. You need a review app. You need an app to speed up. I'm not going to give you guys this app on this call. Again, you know, like I have clients that have spent millions of dollars testing these apps. I'm not going to give you the exact build, but I'm going to point you really close to it. Okay. You need something to speed up your site. So just look for the most popular ones in the Shopify store. Specifically, you need to speed up the images. These print-on-demand companies, whether it's ShineOn or somebody else, they're going to have mock-ups. Put your message card or what, acrylic or whatever in there. And they get a whole bunch of nice, pretty picture mock-ups. Those images usually load slow, and they're usually missized for that exact size. And so you need an app. You could either optimize manually each product page, which would stink, or you need an app that just does that for you. And now your site's gonna work a lot better. Okay. You need 1 or 2 upsell apps. You definitely want a post-purchase upsell app. There's no downside to that. A little customer service, but there's no downside to a post-purchase upsell app. A pre-purchase upsell app in certain products at certain times of the year and executed properly is phenomenal. Having a pre-purchase and a post-purchase that are dancing well together, especially in Q4 when there's a lot of buyer intent, especially with certain products with certain upsells, works great. Doesn't work in every situation. Not as beginner friendly to have a pre-purchase upsell app, because you're putting extra friction there. And if you don't do it exactly right, you're just going to get a lot less conversions, especially if you're in the initial testing phase where you just want to see if somebody's going to buy some stuff. And in the initial scaling phase too, you can hurt yourself by putting too many bells and whistles in there. But properly done, a pre-purchase and a post-purchase upsell app dance really nicely together. No downside to the post-purchase app other than it's an app you got to pay for. And sometimes people accidentally buy something, you have to do customer service, but you're going to make a bunch of money on a post-purchase app, and it doesn't add the friction because the person has already bought something from you before they buy something else. Okay. Email, got to have email. The vast majority of the money until you start to get to like a 7-figure store, and now that opens up different email flows for you. But even when you get to a 7-figure store, the vast majority of your money is going to be in the abandoned cart sequence, and being very aggressive in the abandoned cart sequence, like very, very aggressive, like even multiple emails a day, aggressive. If you already have a $500,000 or multi-million-dollar store and you want a recommendation, we've got a phenomenal person for email for this. So just DM me. But regardless, where you need to put your effort is just buy or die. Again, your point of sale, right? You might be the person that buys from you in November, they might have seen 100 of these love knots, but you just ended up being the point of sale. They might have gone to checkout on 5 people, but if you emailed them 3, 4, 5 times more than those other 4, guess who got the point of sale? You. And so there's no downside to having a very aggressive buy or die abandoned cart sequence, because you don't want them on your email list anyways if they don't buy, right? So, and you need that money. You want to be the point of sale, whether it's from your Facebook ads or from your abandoned cart emails, right? Okay, we kind of went over this, like over scaling overview a little bit here. Oh, this is like, again, I think I got redundant here. The difference between the better your fundamentals are, the less kung fu you need. But if you have phenomenal fundamentals and phenomenal kung fu, then this was our top seller for Mother's Day, and they got cash starved during the scale, like right around here. They had to like get some more cash together, or else they probably would have done like 2.5 or something million. But phenomenal product, phenomenal creatives, lots of testing, and not only doing the scaling methods that we teach, but also testing on top of that and like putting their own spin on it. Phenomenal. Great profit margin on this one too. So combination of fundamentals and Facebook Kung Fu, and like life-changing. Like a couple weeks from Mother's Day or a couple weeks from Q4 can be absolutely life-changing, right? Like I remember my first 5-figure day was literally Christmas Day drop shipping. And I think I did like, I don't know, 13 or 18 grand or something, and made like a 5 or 6 grand profit on Christmas. It was awesome. And they gave me the taste for it. And then I scaled like crazy after that, and quit my job, right? So you're always like one product, one creative, and one aggressive move away from completely changing your life with this stuff. And I love it. And we've done it for people so many times, and we've helped people do it so many times. It's really cool. I don't know if I've shared this document in here yet. I'll put this replay. I'll share this document and put this replay at the top of it. I'll email it out. I'll put it in my Facebook group and on my personal too, so you guys can catch this later. Okay, so let's talk numbers, right? So, and then if somebody wants to chime in on this specific topic, that's not just open Q&A. We'll do open Q&A here shortly, but I want to talk real numbers, because let's deal in reality here, right? Like the whole industry, this whole biz op industry, I'm so frustrated with it. I was talking with Gina earlier. Like everybody from Grant Cardone on down is selling something for $1 or $27 or $97, and it's I mean, they're probably giving you less than I'm giving you on this free call here. But what worries me is what's poisoning the well for the make money online industry is they're telling people that you can spend $27 or $97 and build a 6 or 7 figure business. And if you hear that enough from an authority, it starts to normalize that that's your actual reality. Like you start to believe that that's the reality. It's mass delusions of crowds, right? The tulip bulbs, the Enron, like whatever, like people have mass delusions, right? The mortgage crisis that we're about to have another one, probably at the beginning of another one. It's mass delusions because everybody's doing it, so it seems like it must be a reality, right? Well, let's talk about the reality of actually making some real money. Like, don't waste your money. Don't waste your $27, your $97. Don't waste your time on something that's just like telling you what you want to hear. Let's talk about what it takes to actually make some money. All right, that's my rant. Say you want to do 250K in Q4, or maybe for the whole year, but let's use Q4. You have a 250K, you want to make 50 grand. Okay, 20% net profit, perfectly reasonable target. Maybe you have to do 300K to make the 50K. Maybe you got to do 200. Maybe you can do 200 to make the 50K. Okay, that's like the reality of your target here for Q4. Let's walk through what that looks like. Okay, you want to make 50 grand in your pocket in Q4. A lot of people come into this and they go, oh, I'd just be happy if I could make an extra grand or $5 grand. With $5 grand would be a good one. Say I want to make an extra $5 grand a month. all right, well, this isn't a business model where you just come in and cool, I got to 1 grand a month and 2 grand a month and 5 grand a month. That is like 100 times harder than just to make that whole 5 grand a month, 60 grand, right? It's so much easier to make that whole 50, 60 grand in 2 months right now, or 1 month right now, than it is to make that over the course of the year. 100 times easier to make that money in the shortest period of time. Why? Because it's where everybody's buying. Like, look at this versus this. How much easier is it to make 50 grand? A 50 grand in profit is a total drop in this bucket. Whereas 5 grand a month is so freaking hard if you don't know what you're doing and you haven't done a momentum scale already. You're already not optimized. You don't have the products. You can't, you're limited in all these different ad strategies. And you haven't, like, the other thing about Q4, so many benefits to Q4 is you have so much longer of a runway to develop the product and the upsells and the creatives that, like, if you're doing that 250K, whether you got to your 5 or 10K days in September or whether you got to them in December, you can still hit that target, right? There's no other time of the year where you have that much runway to keep pounding at this thing to make it work, right? So let's do a possible 250K, 50K take home scenario, right? So overall, you're gonna do 250K, trying to make 50K, 20% net. You're gonna have 200K in expenses. You don't have to have 200,000. You have to have working capital of like a minimum of 3 days, capital or credit, right? So let's say you're tight on cash. To do this 250K, let's say you have 20 days where you average out at 5K a day in sales, making $1,000 a day in profit, right? So you do your first 100K in sales at around 5K a day. So now you're sitting on another 20 grand, and you roll that in, and now you have more working capital to do the 10K days, and you do the last 15 days, maybe December at 10K a day, do another 150K in sales, and there's your Q4, right? So what does it take to do this? 30 days out. So basically you need to be scaling in November, which means that you need to have something in place by like early mid-November, and then you need to floor it into mid-November and to December. Not even really floor it per se, but like get it up to 5K or 10K days. And that's a very realistic like kind of scenario to map out for yourself. And like, what would you need for that? I don't know, 10, 20, 30 grand credit card, probably, to be able to float that amount of cash. My first $1 million store, I had terrible credit. I was a bartender and I didn't know anything about credit. I just partnered with a buddy. I was like, hey, I got a winning product. I'll risk the money, but I need like your credit to scale. And we split the money up, and he did the customer service. We did $1 million and it was great. So, entrepreneurs find a way. Right. All right. So while we're on this kind of topic of like what it actually takes to do a 100K Q4, $1 million Q4 or something, like, does somebody have a different number they want me to run? Because this is basically it. Like, this is a pretty realistic scenario if you test hard now and develop into Q4. And if you're willing to test more products, more creatives, and learn faster and get your upsells in place, and then when everything's working, be aggressive. This is a very reasonable Q4 to go for, right? And maybe this isn't enough for you. Maybe you're looking to do $1 million, 2 million out of zero. Maybe you're looking to do 2.5 out of zero, right? It's all zeros at that point. Like, that's the crazy thing is it's easier to make 500K than it is to make 50K at a certain point. Just have different skills. It's just about money management and team management. Okay. What else you need? This is what you need to scale the product. This is what you need to test. Okay. $150, $250 a week, something like that for testing. But budget that aside. Maybe like 100 a month for software. Get you a few apps and Shopify, right? You're going to spend more than that when you're scaling. That'll double, but for testing, that's what you need. Okay. And you need a methodology, right? You need the proper consulting. Okay. So consulting is going to average out whether you go for this Q4 deal I'm going to drop on you, or whether you go for a normal deal. It's going to be a couple $100 under $1,000 a month, or it'll be a couple $100 over $1,000 a month to get a website properly made for you, to get one-on-one consulting, group consulting from, myself, Matt Baugh, my team, to get daily, support, to like be in a mastermind of people you can trade information with that. Like maybe on a Tuesday, we talk about a scaling method. A dozen people have tried it and tweaked it by Thursday, and then we tweak it again. And so like your advantage keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, not only because you were taught how to do this properly at each stage, but you're also continually getting better with a group of people. I couldn't do this business model if I didn't have a mastermind. I spend a fortune on masterminds, absolute fortunes, like hundreds of thousands of dollars I've spent on masterminds in the last in consulting in the last what 8-10 years. Little checklist of preparation stuff. Okay, this was that example of Matt's first 500K. Took him 137 reps. All right, there's a little Facebook reel from an interview. She got interviewed by some YouTuber. You can click on that and take a look, hear it from him. But it was 137 reps in. He was at a loss or gain of like 10% on like 10 grand or something in sales. Product, his learning curve, product got better. Algorithm started to treat him better. And the market came to him, right? Testing and developing summer into Q4. And then the market comes, you find the singularity point where you as a human, your products for the other humans, the algorithm's treating you right, and the demand comes in like a friggin' tidal wave. And so all the things line up and bam, you can get up to 5-10 grand a day. And this is a 500K example. So you just double the numbers here about what you need for operating capital, right? But it's literally like I just laid out for you. And this is the formula over and over and over again for Q4. It's test, develop. Trend comes in, Facebook's treating you better, you're confident, more confident. All these things are lining up. You got your creative, got your best product, you floor it. Right. Okay. Yeah, I talked about on one of my emails, so we're going to talk a little bit about exiting these stores. It's a big part of our Q4 strategy here. I'm going to do a separate call specifically on that. But if you have a profitable family gift store and or you're building more or building your first one and you want to build it in a way to get an exit, just this is my Facebook profile. Just DM me exit and we can have that conversation, or I'll put you on a list of people to have on the call about how to sell these stores. It's really, there's some interesting ways to sell these stores. There's like a full exit. There's a minority exit where you sell out part of your things to investor. There's a majority exit where you sell the majority of your product of your store to an investor and you stay on and operate it for different incentives. And if you build a good relationship with investors that way, you can keep building up assets and or they'll do full buyouts of other stores and bring you in as a partial. So you might be able to get cashed up for your store, take all the risk off the table, operate it, make more off of a smaller percentage of it because you have financial support and a network of support. And you might be able to get into this world of venture capital that's flooding into e-commerce and just like, network with a bunch of us that are doing this as well too. So this is really the big move right now. Like in a completely different niche, we've got friends in the golf niche that have got investors that earmark like tens of millions of dollars and they're just buying up e-commerce golf stores. And then what happens is they bundle that all up, kind of like Wall Street, and then they sell it even at a higher multiple because once you get all the accounting kind of lined up, that you can make it a financial product, which is what's happening now. It's sort of like, it's a bad example because the mortgages are a mess now, but it's sort of like when banks repackage mortgages and sell them as investment things. There is something happening in the e-commerce space where things are being packaged together and resold at a higher multiple. And if you're able to make profits in a niche that investors want to be involved in, like family gifts is a really nice one, then you can get into this. This is a really good time to get into this world and possibly make way more money with way less risk than when you first got into this. So it's exciting stuff, but I'm not quite ready to do a presentation on yet. As soon as possible. Okay, open Q&A, guys. You can raise your hand in Zoom, or you can write something in the chat. Let's see, through the chat for any questions right now. Okay, Maria asked about days of the week. Okay, so I'll just answer this that in the summer, okay, so it's possible in the summer, Monday morning through Friday dinner time is when you'd want to like sell them in. If Monday or Friday is a holiday, you know, don't try to sell that day. That's for initial testing. Okay. We've done scales where we literally just ran in the summer a love niche product Monday morning through I think I got one up here. It's got a weird looking chart. Done scales in the summer where yeah, this one here. This we ended up doing like 500K on this thing between the summer and Q4. Um, like we literally just ran it Monday morning through Friday. And then if Monday or Friday was a holiday and we didn't catch it in time, we'd lose money. But that trend's not as obvious right now as it was a year or two ago. But in general, I wouldn't on a brand new ad account, brand new product, brand new project, brand new seller. I definitely wouldn't test to men into the weekend on the beginning of the project. Once you got something working, time is money. Test creatives and versions nonstop in August, like push, 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 so you can, scale as soon as possible or develop farther into September, right? Some niches do really well on Sunday, but that's trend sort of like been gobbled up by the people that realize that too. The thing is, when in the summer, it's just there's less to go around, and so when trends like Monday through Friday kind of become too obvious, and if just me or a couple other people have told enough people, like then like maybe there was a total of 100 grand in sales to be had on a Monday or something, and then now everybody knows that, and then nobody's running the ads on the Sunday, and then Sunday one person runs on Sunday and does a big day, even though it's 20 or 30 grand, it was like one person picked it up. So the trends, you got to adjust with the trends, but for a brand new ad account selling to men, I wouldn't sell on the weekend in the summer for testing. Okay, I'm gonna grab a couple of these questions. Okay, David, most of the products that make a ton of money don't really have any design elements to them at all. So like we just give clients templates. Um, all those designers make, like in the ShineOn design group, and if any of you are in here, you guys make beautiful designs, but that's not 99% of what sells. What usually sells is a very basic looking product. Now, where the creativity comes in is the picture ad, the video ad, right? And so if you are one of those designers in the ShineOn design group, you could probably make a lot more money for your clients if you take their boring cards that are making sales and turn them into a really nice video. Now, problem is that the clients don't know that because, the vast majority of people buying designs are, they don't know what works and they just go, ooh, that's pretty. I like that. But like we're selling phrases here. And so the design element needs to be very subtle, if at all. Most of the 7-figure products have either no clip art or very little. So there's random ones that do, but they're like, again, they're like catching lightning. Yeah. So designer, no, but for video creatives, my fiance's makes some banger creatives. She makes creatives for Matt. Let me grab her Facebook for you. She makes video ads for a lot of clients. Hey. Uh, 3 to 6. for a couple of reasons. If you're just testing from the beginning and you're doing just like one picture, just do the same picture and just duplicate it a couple times. It's purely an algorithmic thing. What you want is from the very beginning of a project, you want to get a lot of ads approved. So later on, you might have 100 ad sets, each with 6 ads, different creatives, whatever, jumping in different times of the day and different strategies. You want later when you're scaling to Facebook to just automatically approve your ads. And so when you're kind of tiptoeing into a brand new ad account, don't just launch 10 at 10 tests on the first day. Like we'll launch one, wait a day, launch another. Just got to tiptoe in for the first week or two and get up to 5 or 10 tests a week and more if you want. But wait for something to get approved at the ad level, duplicate it a couple times, you're going to get a couple more approved ads. It's the same picture. It's not the necessary, it could be the same post ID or not. You're just training Facebook to approve ads for you. And this just makes things go a lot smoother for you in testing and later on. Now, when you're actually scaling, you might have some pictures, some different pictures and some different videos, and maybe even a carousel or something in there. And having multiple different creatives in the same ad set is great when you're scaling. And so you might as well start out with 3 to 6 to begin with, and even at the very acorn stage of initial testing, because you're looking to build a 6 or 7 figure business here now. And so just get used to having 3 to 6 creatives at the ad level. So it depends on a couple factors. Like this is going to be a longer conversation. How profitable is it during the year? Is it only Q4? How many profitable Q4s have there been? What's the net? Self-fulfilled versus ShineOn. The way to really make the most money is to do a structured one, is to take a partial, sell a minority or majority share, grow with the investor, and then do a second exit at a higher multiple, right? So they get in first, I don't even want to say what X right now of net, because each project is going to be different. But the way you make the most money is to do a structured exit where there's the initial investor and then it gets packaged and resold at a higher multiple, and you get a piece of both parts of that exit. Yeah, I mean we have a contractor who does this and sells this to my clients. If you're doing if you have $500,000 or $1 million store, it's an absolute no-brainer to invest in somebody to do this for you. If you're just getting started, it's their training, it's their proprietary training that's within my group, so I can't give it away. But if you already have a stored volume, then DM me. It's a no-brainer to invest in that. Yeah, we've taken tons of people from 0 to 7-figure, even an 8-figure store now, a couple 8-figure stores, plenty of 6-figure stores. Earlier in this thing here, like you can literally you can ask the CEO of ShineOn. You can ask Michael. You can click right here and ask him, should I join Mario's coaching? And he'll tell you absolutely. It's like on the last time I was on ShineOn with coffee with Michael or whatever, he said, for my money, if I was going to invest in a coach, it'd be Mario and EPM. Because it's not just me. It's me, it's Gina, it's my whole team. It's Matt Bott, teaches the Tuesday call. It's jam-packed with people that have had success over and over again. So what we do when somebody comes in, I didn't mean to make this a pitch section, but you kind of laid me up there. I apologize. So I'll make it quick. We will take a look at your store. We'll do a kickoff call. You'll do a kickoff call with me. I'll take a look at your store. I'll hand it over to Gina and Caleb. They're going to do a revamp to your store with you, walk you through the things that we do to the stores. Basically, you're going to have a store that functions identical to my 7 and 8-figure sellers. And so we don't have to worry about the store being an issue. As far as methodology, yeah, everything from initial testing, this just scratches the surface of it, to development, to pre-scaling, to scaling, and adjusting with the times on what's working, to guest experts, to everything. Like, yeah, I mean, it's, why mess around with some like little $27 course if you got a few G's to invest to really like have a high chance of building a 6 or 7 figure business. Oh yeah, and accountability and a like, yeah, it's like being able to reach out to me and just show me 50 or 100 products that you tested and like, or 20, or I'm stuck. You're like talking to Gina. Yeah, having mentorship just to take action and be in that, like, again, like I talked about earlier, like when you're first just sitting. I remember I did my first drop shipping store and I'm sitting in Boston and I'm just staring at my screen and it's just like, oh, it's like never built a website before, like for like caveman, like trying to get this dang Shopify store to work. And, and fast forward 8 years later, like, somebody comes on, I just, the team will just build you the store and the junior media buyer will jump on a couple calls with you and help you launch your first ads. And it's just like, we just lay out the whole thing for you, give you templates of what you need to be testing on, just completely jumpstart the project for you in the proper direction. And then you have a group of people and you got 3-4 calls a week to jump on and get a group of people you can talk to between your peers, people that are just starting out, people that are already 7-8 figure sellers. Like there's nothing better than being in a mastermind. Like if you find yourself in a coaching group where like only the coach has some results and they're not like necessarily in what you're selling, or there's like they got one screenshot from 4 years ago that maybe I actually did the results on and they stole from me, for example, then no, you're not going to get much value out of those coaching programs. But if you're actually surrounded by people that give a shit and actually get people results over and over again, and those people are in the group giving back, then that's where you need to hang out. If in anything, like if you're selling real estate, trading stocks, like whatever you're doing, you need to find the best people you can possibly afford to hang out with, and do that. Okay, some more questions, I'm sure here. All right, where did that leave off?
Mar, while you're pasting in the next questions, I'm just going to jump on that too, because I know that question had something specific about being stuck with product development, about our mastermind. And one of the things I think that I do on the team that actually helps the clients the most is like our clients will just DM me screenshots of their products and I'll just record a quick audio or video feedback for them. And that, like, the progress that I see in the quality of the products that are being made like in real time as quickly as like over a 2-week period is so major. So just like, throwing that in as well, that if you're
Yeah, and then
stuck
for
with
beginners
product,
on her
like,
Wednesday call, you can bring your product and she'll pretty it up and like make it more like higher likelihood of actually making a sale too, which is nice.
totally.
Okay, I'm gonna bang through some questions here, Gina. And it's Gina. Hey, Gina, meet Gina. If you haven't run ads in 6 months, would the pixel need to be reseasoned? So the funny thing about this is theoretically the conversion data is good for 180 days, so it'd be 6 months. And I think the engagement data is, I could be behind on that information, whatever, is good for 360 days. But do you really believe them that they don't hold on to all this data and factor that into the algorithm? I mean, give me a break. In general, an ad account that has, well, this doesn't even have to do with the pixel. An ad account that's, let's say that has successfully, you've spent 10 grand on a credit card and it's gone through most of the time or every time successfully, that ad account's going to do better than a brand new ad account that they don't know if that advertiser's money is actually going to be good. So just pixel aside, that ad account's going to do better no matter what you sell than an unseasoned one, unless it had something really, like, unless it went really bad, like unless you were like unless it just like had horrible feedback for like not delivering products or in being in some gated category, right? So in most cases, the old ad account will do better. Plus, it's August and you want to, let's say you want to be doing this 250, 500K, $1 million Q4 or whatever. That ad account that's got a history of, it's seasoned, it's older, it's gonna, like, let's say you want to spend $5 grand a day and you reach out to Facebook and say, hey, raise my daily spend limit. $5,000, 30 grand, whatever, it way more likely that they're going to do that on an account that has any sort of like payment history and like it's been maybe verified or something, like it's been around for a bit. So like a brand new account, if you wanted to do like $1 million Q4 and it was like a brand new account, probably tell you got to rent like an agency account or grease somebody here in the Balkans to get you the proper like Facebook rep to up your spend because they don't know you yet, right? So it's really more of a reputation advantage than actual like the seasoning of the pixel. So long story short, probably the old ad account's the one to go with. Brand new ad account launched in November. You probably get stuck at a lower spend than you want to get stuck at. You might get lucky. There's things we can do to get ahead of to make your business more legitimate during setup so that you have the ability to spend more. But like getting your business manager verified, your commerce manager verified, testing a higher budget so you hit your daily limit a lot faster, and like just really pestering Facebook to raise your biggest challenge is if you launch a brand new ad account in November is to get a high enough daily spending threshold to enjoy what you want to enjoy in Q4. So do it now. Start spending now. Don't wait till November. Bill, you can be at 0 or you can be at 10 million. I've had people come in. I had somebody come in at 100 million. They just wanted to know this particular business model. So you can be at absolute 0 or you can be at any number. The main thing is that you have a strong why you want to do this. You're coachable. You can afford the business model. You got a couple $100 a week to test and some credit to scale, and you got a few G's for consulting. And if that's you and you're motivated, let's do it. I got another call for anybody that wants to sign up because I'm going to drop a really nice offer at the end. And so we can jump people that are serious about jumping in like in August, like now. I'm going to give you a really sweet deal, and also behooves you to do it because, like I said to that previous question about starting an ad account in November, warm that ad account up now. Launch this project now so that August and September has launched your learning curve, your products, the algorithm, the spend, everything is like in place so you can floor it in November, December. I mean, like your chance of success is so much higher, and your chance of not getting, a governor put on your spend is so much better if you warm everything up now. And it's really like the only time of the year, I'm trying not to be too pitchy. People are laying me up here, the only time of year that I would do a short offer, right? Like I'm going to do an offer that's like for the rest of the year. Like normally I want to work with people bare minimum 6 months, but like I've been doing for a while, we've been doing a 1-year offer. And the only time, and I didn't do it last year, but this year I'm doing it. The only time that I've ever been willing to do a shorter offer is Q4 because it's 80% of the sales. So like you can put a smaller amount of money at risk by joining us and have a very high potential return from that. Like you can launch a big business off of a small time frame if you really take action with it. It makes sense because, if you came in and like, right after Mother's Day or something, like I'd have to give a person at least the whole rest of the year with me, if not an entire year, so that they have chances for success. Because they're going to get bored during the summer, and then I got to like amp them back up to get excited about Q4, and or God forbid, I only sold them a 6-month offer, and right when Q4, I'm on the phone like, you want to renew? Like, I'm not trying to be in that position. I know some other coaching programs that love to do that though. Okay.
Hey, just for clarity, the other call that you mentioned where you're dropping a deal, is that happening right after this call?
Yeah, I set it up to be a 5 o'clock call, but if this Q&A goes over, it'll be 5:30. I don't know, but I think 30 minutes of Q&A probably makes sense.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that'll be like right now. That'll be like right after this. Okay, let me get through these. Can you run multiple family relationships on the same account? Yeah, it usually works out better to have one ad account, one pixel, one domain. I've seen people run multiple, and then most of the people run multiple that do 7 figures, they go back to one pixel. Like they did a multiple pixel setup. Maybe that worked better in previous years. Now they're on a 1 pixel setup. That's subject to change. That's one of those things that like Facebook could make an algorithm change while I'm talking, and all of a sudden this is the Q4 of multiple pixels, right? But for a while now, one ad account, 1 pixel, one store, with some exceptions. Let's say you did $1 million in the grandparents, granddaughter niche, grandson, granddaughter, you're selling to grandparents. Their buying behavior is different than the other big niches. So from an ad account level and from a conversion rate optimization level, you're going to need to do that differently. Possibly if you're doing a store in another language, like the Spanish language is good. You want a dedicated store from that, probably a dedicated pixel. If you're doing some of the smaller niches, like the I'm sorry niche, which is it's a good niche to do low 6 figures in, the customers are absolutely miserable. They are just people in unhappy relationships, which is why it can muddy your pixel data. Because think about, let's say you sell to, 5,000 units to unhappy men. Is that pixel going to be able to find like people in a happy family relationship, like at the same time? Maybe no, maybe yes. So like something like that, I'd be like, yeah, fire up a different store. And usually in those kind of situations where somebody's optimized into something that's a little off the beaten path, or like, let's say it's the memorial niche, which is hard niche, but there's a lot of money in that. There's not that many people doing it. You'd want to make that just a memorial store. I have some people that have like a granddaughter store. It's like a 7-figure store, and they have a couple of 7-figure stores that are the primary niches I kind of talked about, and they separated because it worked better to have the dedicated granddaughter one. So the answer is almost all the products, and especially in the main niches, the same ad account, same pixel. What becomes difficult is tracking, right? So let's say you're doing 5-10 grand a day on 3 different products. You're going to want to implement some third-party software like Hyros or Triple Whale or what have you, to have more accurate tracking. And you're going to want to have some rules, whether they're just your rules and you're physically pressing the button or whether the software is doing it for you. You want to be able to analyze data fast and accurately. And so if you got multiple projects, you're getting inaccurate data on the ads manager and maybe inaccurate data a little bit on the third-party tracking, it becomes a little harder to make fast decisions. And so most people end up just scaling to the moon. Like let's say you had a dad, a daughter, and a husband, a wife in the same store. They were both looking great. Probably one of them's going to do a little bit better, and you just let's say the most you can financially do is 20 grand a day total. Instead of doing 10 and 10, just do 20 on whichever one's doing better. But if you're doing multiple millions and you have a bunch of third-party software and you're making it work, absolutely. And you're still going to be on that same ad account with the same pixel. But it's usually not something anybody needs to worry about. Usually by the time you're worrying about that, it's just a bigger strategy conversation. Like, how do we make sure you make just the butt ton of money? Pardon my French. What's the best way to set it up at that point? Okay, is it normal to profitable sales and low ad spend, but unprofitable sales at high budget? I mean, it just doesn't sound like you have a business model that's working. Probably not the answer you wanted to hear. It's always possible to lose money. Like we have a very set steps that we put people through. Like, I don't know if your site's wrong. I don't know if your niches are wrong. I don't know if your designs are wrong. I don't know if your upsells are wrong. I don't know if you're in the wrong niches at the wrong time. I don't know if you have very strict rules for testing, development, if you understand what's working for video ads, which products need which upsells at which time, which apps. Like the answer to this is you need a method to scale. You need a method to develop and scale. And you need like an audit of the whole business in order to confidently do that. So just what you have is you have a piece of a business model. You don't have a business model is the answer there. I really want to. So like the unhappy niche, like the I'm sorry niche, I really feel like you could back end those to like get your win your X back kind of info products and stuff. that's kind of slimy, but there's some apps out there that are like for dads, like they give activities. You can like get your kids outside, hopefully, and like, play with your kids, like your son or your daughter or whatever. And if any of those have an affiliate program, that'd be cool. We haven't gotten that deep into it. We've just been physical, and just getting better and better at that. But these are family people. So like, let's say you had a acrylic or a watch or something that was like to my man or to my husband, probably to my man. I know from like, I was in this mastermind that's for coaches, right? Sam Ovens was consulting.com. I was in his mastermind a couple of years ago. And the people that were in the relationship niche. So the biggest niches in make money online are health, wealth, and relationships. So we're in the relationship niche. There are higher ticket info products and coaching in that niche. The people that make the most money as a coach, like selling $5,000, $10,000, whatever product, in the relationship niche, from my research, are how to find a good man and keep him would be the headline, right? And so that sort of filling that sort of relationship gap. Somebody's at the point where they're buying something for somebody. So like, maybe it's like to my soulmate or to my man, but not to my husband, right? Because the primary buyer of that particular coaching program were women. So you want to vet the program, because you don't want to be like sending people to like spend thousands of dollars on coaching that's not good relationship coaching, because it's pretty bad juju. That's some pretty bad karma. But yeah, there is a scenario in which you could get people to install some sort of family software, some sort of possibly something political. You can make the correlation depending on the quote. And definitely like a higher ticket, like relationship retreat or something like that. Like if you have enough leads, that's one thing I've talked about with my group, but we haven't made the right deals, is between everybody having millions of emails. Like there is room to make a deal where it's just sort of like an affiliate deal, sending leads, but choosing who I'd send those people to is tough. Yeah. You can do something as simple as a PLR, which is a private label rights download. You do a PDF. Go to a PLR site, find something on relationships or on being a dad, and put it in your email flows. And you buy it once for like $20 or something, and you can keep selling it for $19.95. Put your own graphic on it. And so, yeah, you could pick up some money there with that. PLR, private label rights. That would be the lowest impact thing to do. Oops. Yeah, put it up here. There we go. She does a lot of spirituality stuff too, like, but she also makes the videos. Her site, her Facebook page is becoming more and more about parapsychology, Reiki, energy healing, all that cool stuff. She's an artist. She makes good stuff. All right. So the way that I have people do this is image ads, just image, image, image. You find something that in phase one, you're going to be testing 15 to 150 products or whatever. You just want something that the phrase makes a couple sales. Once you have an outlier, you take it into phase two. That's earlier in this document, and I'll give you this recording as well. Once you're into phase two, you're going to be testing. You're going to be testing pictures and videos. And once you get into the video testing, you want to do the video testing of a product that's already made some sales. That's my approach to it. Some people just find a popular quote, change it up just slightly enough and make a bunch of video ads, and they can possibly make that work. You get, depends on how good you are at video ads, but you can have a very basic video ad of a warmed up ad account of a phrase that has made sales on pictures, and it's a much straighter line to success. The way that I view this is, how can I make the most people the most money with the least aggravation in the straightest line? And the straightest line I can do that is phase one, testing with pictures. Phase two, variation testing, and picture and video creative testing. So it's initial picture ad, you get something that makes a couple sales. Now that you're in development, now you can throw the sync at it with videos, knowing that it's made multiple sales on a small amount of money. You're leaning on the fact that there's a higher likelihood that that product, that quote, is going to do better. Because Facebook also knows it's algorithmic. It's algorithmic as much as it is the product itself. All things being equal, if your products are all good being relative, right? Like things that work. Facebook knows that that exact landing page has made sales on a small amount of ad spend. And so now when you throw a bunch of different picture ads and videos to it, it knows that that product seems like it might make sales at a higher rate. So it's going to give you better impressions. And so making video ads to a product that showed itself to be an outlier, you're getting a much better ROI in your time on that. But if you make a banger of a video in, November and December, like it's gonna work to some degree. It's just got to be a really good video. Yeah, without giving legal advice, yeah, at some point you want a company. Even just to be able to run Facebook shop ads, for example, like you have to have some sort of company to verify your commerce manager. You want to verify your business manager, you usually have to have a company for that. Just for making life easier with Meta, having a corporation, plus for taxes and everything else. Again, not legal advice. At some point, you want to start a business. For me personally, I did it real dirty on my first $30,000 drop shipping product, and then the $1 million one, we did properly with a business. Either and or both. I have clients that scale the same product on 2 different stores with 2 different ad accounts. I like that a lot. When you have a winner, somebody a couple Q4s ago came in with a kind of a warmed up store and hit a winner pretty quick. And then the other store was struggling. And I was like, just take the best creative of your best product, change the logo on it, throw it that exact product and creative into your second store. And he was doing 20, 30 grand a day on both stores with the same exact product, just different stores. And that worked out really well. And now he's got 2 assets, 2 7-figure assets, which is really good. But I wouldn't run different ad accounts to the same site. It's just confusing and usually not a net positive. Some people might disagree on that. The German market is the best foreign market. The logistics and the VAT tax and the payment provider issue with Kartra, and knowing the logistics of knowing exactly who needs to be doing the shipping. If you have products in Germany that are being sold, that have the proper shipping, you have the proper payment providers the Germans want to use, which I believe is Kartra. German market's a good market for e-commerce, but you have VAT tax, you have different logistical issues. I mean, there's just hundreds of millions of dollars to be made in the US. So US English speaking, followed by US Spanish speaking, followed by anything else, unless you have some sort of advantage. Like we have a friend in Poland that does his own POD products, and he does $500,000 or 2 million on these events at a really high profit margin. But he knows he has a stranglehold on the Polish market, and he has inventory in Poland, and he's in Poland, right? So like he has advantages. If you have advantages in a European country, then it can work out great. But also a lot of people I know that do e-commerce in Europe have shady tax, like companies going from this country to that, because like your whole profit just gets ruined by that. That just slaughters you. Yeah, if you have enough advantages in a European market, Germany is a good market for e-commerce. All right, I don't know where I left off on questions here. Let's see. A good question from Bill. Okay, so for example, the big company I was talking about that is just testing like crazy on TikTok, and then like they did last year, and then they're gonna scale on Facebook again, right? They have two Facebook fan pages. One is specifically for women buyers, and one is specifically for male buyers. And they have their angle. Some people probably know this company. Then you can do the research now. One's called like top 5 gifts for men. The other one's called like top 5 gifts for women. They have a TikTok for both, and they have a Facebook for both. That's working for them, and that's an 8-figure business. We have clients that are so tired of getting spied on that they keep firing up new Facebook pages and hope, and like maybe the new page will scale. And as soon as the new page scales, then everybody copies their stuff. Which is, it's more of an annoyance than it is actually hurting your pocketbook. But you know, when you're spending thousands or tens of thousands of dollars a day, that stuff starts to eat at you when you see somebody ripping your stuff directly or having your stuff posted in some other group that's like copying everybody's stuff. But yeah, it's really, I don't see any reason if you don't have a 7 or multiple 7-figure store to have multiple Facebook pages. And even then, I don't see the reason to either. Okay, cool. All right, I think we can wrap up the Q&A there.
There was like one,
Something?
yeah, there's a question from Tracy about, I know about clients from in the mastermind from all over the world. Bill was curious when the calls were, and then there was one from Sid about, is Amazon a good place to sell ShineOn?
Okay, I'll do the Amazon one first because that's easy. Facebook, Google, Amazon, TikTok in order of importance. But if you're really good at Amazon and you have an advantage there, cool. The learning curve of Amazon and getting the buy button and the ranking and getting ripped off by other sellers that have been moving millions in this message card space before you, like, if you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna get crushed because it's a different game. Organically listing, you're going to make some money. You know, when you scale something with Facebook ads, interruption marketing in general, the search intent based sales happen. So like if you have some people will literally take the name of your product, a buyer, potential buyers. This is about 3 to 7% of buyers. They'll find, they'll click on an ad, they'll see something they want to buy, they'll grab the link, the name of the product, and maybe the store, usually just the product, and they'll pop it in something that's search, Google or Amazon. So simply by having a listing that you're scaling with paid ads, having your listing that product organically on Amazon, especially if you added FBA, but any Amazon's okay. You're going to get some organic sales because your paid ads did that. There's also people that traffic jack with that because they see people scaling and they list. See, it's just that Amazon's a snake pit. But yeah, no, you can pick up an extra 7% of sales if you know what you're doing with search traffic, mainly Google and Amazon. If it's Etsy friendly, like the message cards used to be, but the acrylics are now, right, Gina? Like if it's Etsy friendly, you'd want to put your product, if you want to grab your search intent traffic and you want to deal with the headache of multiple channels, Amazon, Etsy, Google, with the exact name of your product. Because as you scale it with interruption marketing, you've created search demand for that exact term. Yeah, Diane, this is a snake bit. Yeah. And Etsy's like a snake pit that like looks all friendly. Amazon's straight up knives out. Etsy's like, oh, come on in. It's nice here. Banned. You're either laughing or crying. There's a couple people, but they've been doing it for years, that do millions on Amazon with ShineOn products. But I mean, every penny counts, and they're selling them for cheaper, and you got all those Amazon fees, and you got to carry inventory. So like, you definitely got to source from China directly to Amazon FBA and get the price as cheap as humanly possible, unless you've got a significant advantage. There's like one, to my knowledge, there's like one 7-figure seller that actually fulfills ShineOn products from ShineOn. That might be ShineOn's internal store, actually. Okay, cool. Let's wrap it up here. Anybody that wants to get on this Q4 deal, basically what I was talking about earlier, our program is built to like give you a chance to have the highest possible success, to build a 6, 7, even 8-figure business. That's our goal. And it's a combination of one-on-one coaching. It's a website build. It's a junior media buyer helping you launch ads. It's group coaching and support, and individual support through the whole thing as well too. So like, it's our life's work. I put a ton of money and time into this thing. We got Matt Baugh teaching the Tuesday call. Matt did 7 million last year. Gina's been helping clients now for 3-4 years with me. Her husband Caleb's really nice to work with, and he's the junior media buyer helping clients launch ads. I do a kickoff call with everybody that comes in. I audit your business and give you exact game plan. Like, this is what you need to be doing for this amount of time. And, normally it's like, what I do normally is $9K for a whole year. And I'm doing a Q4 deal for half of that, or even a little bit less, that you can get in with us for the rest of this year. So the investment versus potential return is pretty astronomical for the people that it works out for. Okay, so if anybody wants to jump into this call, I'm gonna launch this in a couple of minutes, and maybe a handful of you guys want to jump in the program and get rocking and rolling for Q4, and come on in. Okay. I'll get everybody this replay too. Everybody have a great rest of your Sunday. Thanks for showing up, and I hope you got a bunch of value from it, and hope you have a great Q4, and we'll see you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. I'm gonna just hang out so everyone can grab this link as people leave. This is the link to the next Zoom call. I'll see you guys over there. Tracy, it looks like you're still on. I know Mario didn't get to your question.